Hey yo everyone, KCR Jones here, and welcome back to From the Shipping Box. This is episode 4. This is probably going to be the coolest episode for at least a while, because what we have here is a brand new Lionel Legacy steam locomotive. The first time we're doing this for From the Shipping Box of, I believe, the first thing from Lionel, but also the first locomotive unboxing, and I'm sure this video hopefully will get popular. Before we begin, I just want to say we passed 100 subscribers. If you haven't watched that video already, go ahead, give it a watch. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, it'll mean a world to me to show that people care about what I do. And especially if you like this video and if you like the channel, then go ahead and subscribe. It'll really help me out a lot. And, you know, I will definitely shoot more videos of whatnot if they get popular. But that's enough rambling for now. Okay, as I said, this is the first locomotive to be unboxed. Everything else was just rolling stock. And I actually just went to Train World. I feel like I should have said that. I got this from Train World. And I just actually went to Train Land in Long Island. Had a beautiful day with some of my friends. So if some of them are watching, they know what I'm talking about. And the first thing I love to do before I actually open a product is anytime they give you one of these little packets or pamphlets or some kind of enclosed envelope, it's just like getting a birthday present. You want to read the card first before you actually get into the present. But this is what we've got. We've got the Lionel number 213-1090 Rutland 460 with Legacy. It is this, or with the Legacy steam locomotive. That was the price. That's actually a pretty darn good price. I did get a discount on it as well, and there was the pre-ordering and all that, but that is the price that they marked down. Honestly, I would have paid it either way. That's actually a pretty darn good price for what we got here. And the box itself, this is a recycled Walthers box, but it is the shipping box. We'll split it down. So let me just open this side first so I can actually see it. Fun fact, also, I'm going to appear on camera here so I can actually see this darn thing that I'm cutting here. And as always, yes, if anyone ever wonders about my hat, I got it custom made. I will put the guy's information in the description below. He actually made this for me roughly a year ago, and it looks just like a New Haven Railroad Thompson hat, which is why I wanted it. People on a forum are talking about how this guy is making Thompson style hats, which is the denim lip around it. He makes them for like 40 bucks, so measure the size of your head to make sure that it actually fits. So mine's is custom made just for me. So if anyone's interested, I'll leave his info in the description below. I do not remember at the time of filming this. But I actually have my computer over there. I'm seeing my Discord is blowing up. Everyone's like, oh my god, you got a new train. Let's see it. So yeah, I can't wait to see this either. Let's see. There it is. There it is. I'm waiting since August for this. Good weight. Oh my, wow. Good weight. Legacy Rutland 10-wheeler. Awesome. Just made 2 months before I filmed this. Wow. New. This is new. This is new product, folks. Brand new. One of the first on YouTube. Brand new. Let's get this thing open. We'll open this end. Thank you, Lionel. Yeah, let's actually open it, or pull it out like this for you guys. You can see that beautiful orange box, the blue lining, and the beige. Nostalgia for me in particular. I grew up with these Lionel boxes. I grew up with some hand-me-down post-war stuff. Very little. Then I got my first set, actually, I think in 2004, when I went to Florida to see my grandparents. We got a set at a flea market for me, and then the following Christmas, Santa Claus got me a set. And ever since, they've been like this box. And I just wanted to say, if you ever get a new Lionel train box, specifically from Lionel, I've noticed from Lionel, when it's brand new, if you ever smell the interior of the box or this shipping carton, oh my god, it's a beautiful smell. It smells just like Christmas morning, folks. At least the Christmas memories. I just want to do one more. It smells so good. Oh yeah. Okay. I'm not kidding. Anyone who's in this hobby will tell you that, by the way. I'm not crazy, or hopefully I'm not crazy, but it is a warm, nostalgic smell. It's the smell of styrofoam, die cast, and plastic, but I don't know. When it's fresh out of the box like that, it just smells so good. Legacy 460, number 79. It has Legacy and Bluetooth control, Legacy rail sounds, fan-driven smoke, whistle steam, and an 031 minimum curve. This thing is going to be very friendly to toy train style layouts, as well as high rail layouts like my own, or my club layout that we have at the museum. And I just wanted to say this at this point in the video. You are going to see me unbox this locomotive as Rutland number 79, but as an added bonus, you're actually going to see me custom this to be New Haven Railroad 821. That is right. I bought this to custom it. It is the first Legacy locomotive that I have done that to. It's going to get pretty much the same treatment as Junior, but it'll pretty much look like that, if that makes sense. Or it's just, instead of NicholFloyd Railroad, it will say New Haven. I have custom number. I will probably blacken the headlight, but pretty much I'm just going to renumber it and make it New Haven. If I were to buy any of them not to custom, it would have most likely have been either this one or the Boston in Maine. I was 50-50. And this one is white-walled, which is why I was like, ooh, I got to see this one white-walled. Anyway, that's enough of me talking. Let's get it out of the box now. All right, folks, without further ado, let's get this thing out of the box. This is probably the coolest part of the video, is the reveal. Here it is in the styrofoam. Is there a manual for me anywhere? No? It doesn't want to fly out. All right. Oh, it's a little stiff. Doesn't want to come out. Ah, there's the manual. Instruction manual. I have actually looked on this. I looked through this online. Good old Lionel emblem. There you go. Oh yeah, here we go, folks. Oh yeah, extra traction tires, dummy coupler. Let's see, mounting screws. I'm assuming that's for the 2-rail coupler, if you wanted to use that, of course. Ooh, 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 ooh. Good weight on this. For the size of this locomotive, good weight. And speaking of weight, this thing arrived like 2 months early. I was not expecting to see this in like May. I've been waiting for this for a good while. Newest member of the fleet. Oh, that's a little, okay. Nothing bad. That's a little annoying. Normally Lionel's done and rectified this. The cab roof vents, those are static. Huh. Oh well. Yeah, but I'm looking over this thing. This thing is damn awesome looking. Oh, yep, the smoke box does open. Not by much, but it does open. Okay. Let's get this styrofoam out. Let's get the tender. Actually, where's that track? I like to use that little piece of display track when I'm doing these videos. Oh, and I just realized the smoke fluid pipette is here. The goods in there. There's no smoke fluid, actually, come to think of it. Sometimes, it's not often, but sometimes they do give you a bottle of smoke fluid. This one only gets the pipette. And here's the tender. Now, funny, the tender is slightly controversial on this model for basically one reason. Now, looking at it, it's gorgeous. You know, the paint, that looks so good and everything. Coal load, real coal load. Drawbar looks good. The drop plate, or the The deck looks good. But if you know anything about steam locomotives, or really if you know anything about American railroading in particular, if you know anything about these things, you would know on tenders you kind of have a backup light. But there is no backup light. And there's also no rear marker lights either. Now this thing does have the locomotive, you can change the colors of the indication lamps, but there's no marker lights right here. This is what I mean. You have your backup light and your marker lights. Not sure if all the focus is wanting to play up with me here, but there you go. There's none of that on this tender, which is a little interesting. I did not know the original tooling that this came from. This is a reissue, by the way. Lionel has been doing that. Actually, I think the last few catalogs have been nothing but reissues. Like, no new toolings, which is fine. By all means, you know. Making new toolings is very expensive, and there's some great products from Lionel in the past that would be a great thing to make these days, which is what they're doing. But I just want to point out that there is no backup light, so running this in reverse, or tender first, you will not have a backup light, nor marker lights to worry about. Now, it's around now in the video when I would talk about the history of the model. And like I said, this is Rutland Railroad number 79. But I have intentions to make this a New Haven Railroad class G4A 10-wheeler. And I have right here one of my favorite books, New Haven Power. And this is pretty much my Bible in words when it comes to model railroading. But I do know that right here it is. This one here, this number and everything. I want to take a good look at that. Part of the J.W. Swanberg collection. This G4A, number 821 for the New Haven. Now, of course, you know, the wheels aren't going to be too easy to do that with. And it does kind of have a similar tender in the way. It's a similar design. You know, the coal bunker doesn't actually go all the way to here. But like I said, I bought this thing to custom. Now, the thing I do know, without even reading this, again, for the video, the G-Class, or at least the G4s, were actually made by Baldwin. This is an Alco. Getting around that Alco plate. And thank goodness, looking at the number boards closer, I can definitely make stamps over this, instead of having to like blacken them out. But as you can see, the white walling and all that, it's a nice basic design on the Rutland one, which is why I wanted it. But that's what it'll look like, hopefully. Hopefully. Or at least to the best of my advantages. But looking at the cab, it's a very similar cab with that big window right there. But looking at it with the polished bell and the pop-off valves and the white walling, at least for this photo, that's what will make it look like here. Again, to my advantages. I will do a reading of this book just to make sure everything's okay, and then you're actually going to see me make and print the stamps for this. So this, or not really stamps, but the labels. You're going to see me label this thing. While I measure this up, folks, here you go. I'm going to give you a little bit of the history on the New Haven Railroad's G4A locomotives. So, the New Haven Railroad's G4As were built by Baldwin in 1905. They were an extension of the G4 class of passenger locomotives that the New Haven Railroad purchased a year previously. The numbers were 820 to 844, and they arrived roughly around the time they were ordered in 1905. They were all built by the Baldwin Locomotive Works, not Alco, which was a little bit different for the New Haven since they were an almost Alco road up until even into their diesel era as well. These locomotives did not feature the arch window cabs, and they had larger sand domes than their normal engines as well. Just reading that on the page, but Looking at the pictures, yes, that does appear to be so. They were actually known as the cream of the crop of the New Haven's 10-wheelers, and the original G4A, or the original G4 class and the G4A class were used very much on the top Shoreline Express trains, which unfortunately I'm going to be using this a lot in freight myself, and it was the G3 class, but they had high mounted lights, which I feel would look weird trying to call it that. And listen, if you know a railroad, if they have power to send out and it can pull that train, and unfortunately there's no freight engines, you're going to have to dispatch a passenger engine. And plus, we are really running on the NicholFloyd Railway, not exactly the New Haven in these modern times. We try to keep it like it was back in the day, but you know, that's just how it all goes. I am stupid for recording that whole thing because you're not going to see much, but there we go. Let's hop on Lola, my computer, and come up with the graphics. Alright folks, so here it is. I have finished the G4A for at least now. I'm not the happiest of how I didn't match up the gray on the smoke box, and I made the number boards a little bit too big. But I was going through New Haven Power, reading it over, and a few things caught my attention while looking up the history of the real G4As. And I did actually know that one of the G4, I believe it was there were two G4As, number 820 and 846, that ended up going or sold to the CR along with 8 Canadian National 460s. And the CR was actually the Commonwealth Railways or Trans-Australia line. So two of these, of the real ones, actually went down to Australia in their lives, which was pretty different to know that American steam locomotives for the New Haven ended up running on Australian rails towards the end of their lives. A little different. One of them lasted until May 1950. The other one lasted only until 1945. But the ones at home made it up onto the roster until 1944, when they were kicked off because of the Pacifics, as in the I-class Pacifics. And I believe it said somewhere along the lines of the Atlantics as well, the New Haven Atlantics, because these things were built for the passenger service, and unfortunately the I-class sort of killed off the G4s, which is a little bit disappointing to know. But they did make it through the war, and unfortunately the last one was condemned in February of 1948. So they made it up until the basic end of New Haven steam. I know 1948 sounds like an early date to kill off steam, but if you don't know the New Haven's history, the steam fleet pretty much died in 1952, 1953. There were a couple J-class Mikados that stayed around as snow melters, the last one being 3016, which did the last steam run, and was also filmed in It Happened to Jane, if you don't know about that movie. If you haven't watched it, by the way, I would recommend buying it and actually watching it. It's a pretty cool film from the 50s, and it's a great documentation of the New Haven in their early diesel era, come to think of it. You see a couple FL9s and an RS3, and of course 3016 with her final fling. But otherwise, I got the fonting. I'm proud of this. I got the font pretty well done. It says G4A under there. And actually, I'm going to read off what I did differently to this engine and throw higher quality pictures up so you can actually see what I changed here. So on my G4A, my Lionel custom New Haven Railroad G4A 10-wheeler, I have changed the number boards, both on the headlight and the actual number plate. I have covered up the Alco Builders plates. I have renumbered the locomotive on the cab and given it the G4A subclass. Below that, I have given it New Haven in the proper fonting and colors on the tender. I've also given the proper number on the rear of the tender. I have also modified the cab figures. I've thrown in a generic Artista engineer figure, which I've custom painted to look like myself when I'm back at work. And I've also thrown in a fireman stoking one of the 2 fireboxes in this locomotive. Yes, you heard that. One of the 2. Or at least the firebox doors. There are 2 firebox doors on this model that both have the flickering firebox simulated, so it looks like there's actually a fire in there when the engine is powered up. I also want to point out that opening the cab, or getting the cab off of the shell, required opening the entire locomotive up to reveal one single screw, which I will show now on the camera, to access the way to get the cab off of the actual top of the firebox. Here is the screw itself. I have not assembled it because there are 2 screws underneath the cab here and here in case I want to change out the crew figures at any time. Alright everyone, this was actually really fun to do this today, and I really hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to put it on the track and do a couple whistle tests, run it around a few times light to show you differences in the speed and the sounds and the locomotive in operation, like I will for other locomotive unboxings if we do them. If you'd want to see more of this 10-wheeler, please let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see me do a whole video on this thing just running around the layout a few times, because I'm sure many people would want to see that. However, this video I feel has gone on entirely enough, so I'm just going to cut the cam here, put it on the track, start the cam up again, and you'll see this thing in action. But please let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see this thing run, or with certain trains. I have a good amount of cars, both passenger and freight, if you'd like to see that. But anyway, this is KCR Jones signing off until next time, folks. Until the next time, stay safe.
Dispatcher, can we depart to the main line? Over. You are cleared to depart east on signal indication. Out.